Hi everyone, thank you for visiting the wonderful world of math. Today I would like to talk about some key points about this pretest. Let's look at number one. Note that the keywords and or are very different. Okay, for example, if we look at number 1, 2, 3, they are about and then we are looking at the overlapping regions for each of them. So for each inequality, of course, you can draw the arrows and then determine where are the overlapping regions. Okay, so for number 1a, of course there's no overlapping regions. You can expect that the final answer should be no solutions. Okay, of course no solutions, you have no graph for that. Okay, and for number b, greater than 5, greater than -1, greater than 5. Okay, then you're looking at the overlapping region, which should be greater than 5, right? So you see that the final answer would be x greater than 5. If we are going to draw the graphical representation for x greater than 5, then remember, please do not give this. This is just rough work. Okay, just give this as the final answer for the graphical representation for the final answers. Okay, for part C, greater than -4 over 5 is more than or equal to -3 over 4. Of course, you have to determine which are greater values. Yeah, so obviously, -4 over 5 is smaller value, so it's on the left hand side. -3 over 4 on the right hand side, smaller than, and then this one is greater than. You can see that the overlapping region would be the region between them. So you should expect that this is the final answer. I want to make a very important note here. We always start from the smaller value first, and then smaller than x, smaller than the larger value. Okay, when I mark your answers, I sometimes found this, and I'm quite curious why do so, because in the book it never gives something like that. Well, if we are going to draw the arrows for that, then please note that the arrows must be of the same height, like this. Okay, same height, and then no overlapping for the arrows. Okay, and also no shading for the final answers. This already represents this answer. Well, for part D, and we are looking at OR. Looking at OR, then we are going to find all of the region that are shaded. So for part D, actually all numbers are the solutions because all of them are shaded. Okay, so this is all real values of x. Well, for the answers, never give this. Never give this as the graphical representation. Remember, we only have to give the graphical representation for the answer, which is all real values of x. So please give this. For part E, similarly, you have to draw the arrows, and then you find that for part E, it will be greater than 2 over 3, smaller than -2. Okay, and you see that this region and this region should be the final answers. And you must be curious that, oh, so how should I write that? Never mind, just keep this as the final answers. When you're referring to these two regions, we say x squared smaller than or equal to -2 or greater than 2 over 3. Then it refers to these two regions. Okay, so for the answers, graphical representation, you can do in this way. Smaller than or equal to, greater than 2 over 3. Please remember, do not give any shading here, because for convention, we do not do so. This already represents all the solutions for part E. Okay, this is part number 1, which is actually most important, although it looks easy. Well, for number 2, the only thing that I want to say is, please use this presentation for something, solve for it. For something, solve for it. Please be very careful that to make sure these two answers are correct. Okay, because if you can't get all of them correct, you also cannot get the final answers correct. Okay, and then please write again clearly stating that you have the first answer or the second answer. Then is very clear presentation. You can claim your final answers. X can be all real values. And then for your answers, do not just give the graph here. Write clearly what is it. Graphical representation, colon. Okay, and then give the final answers for all real values. Right. Next, talking about part 3. This type of answer is actually a hidden compound inequality, meaning and. The first relation and the second relations here. Okay, so normally you can break it into this because this means and. Okay, similarly you give for something something, for something something, solve them separately, and then we have this and this. Okay, when you mark your homework, I sometimes find that you always write, oh, you have to satisfy both something and something. Note that if it's and, you use and. If it's or, you use or. Do not always say both of them. Okay, so the answers, you can keep it like that, or the best way is to say the solution is something and something. Graphical representation for this is greater than -3, smaller than -3, both of them are the same height. Where for part B is actually quite challenging. Okay, first of all, solving it, you get x more than 5/2, and then I would like to use this graph to try to explain to you. Okay, for part A, we are referring to this region, or x more than 5/2. Let's draw the arrow for x smaller than 5/2. This is the shading area for x more than 5/2. Because this answer is referring to or relation, we are picking all the shaded areas in now. Okay, so all of them up to 3 are the shaded region. So the answer would be x more than -3. If we are, although this question just asks you, if we are to give the graphical representation for that, then we'll just give smaller than -3. Please pay attention to that. This is only rough work. Okay, look at number 4, which is the most important part of this chapter, solving the quadratic inequalities. Well, for part 1, I would like to say that why do we do the factorization, and I don't want you to do the expansion again. Just like some of the students in your class, you do the expansion again and then use calculator, it doesn't help you. You must show the factorization if it is not given. Okay, so when you're looking at this, I hope that you can think of the graph here, having the two x-intercepts at -2, -1, the graph going upward, and then you can determine the answers should be where is it smaller than 0, would be the middle part of that. Okay, for middle part, of course you expect that x is between -2 and -1. So the answer would look like this, -2 smaller than x, smaller than -1. Okay, why I want to take this video, because I sometimes find that there are so many different answers like x more than -1, x more than -2. Okay, do not write any redundant thing which is actually wrong. I just give the answers directly. Okay, for part B, the only thing that you need to do is show the factorization. Although sometimes you use a calculator to give the answers directly, please remember this step is crucial. Okay, so after drawing this graph, the graph will open upward. You get the two x-intercepts. You can find out the answers. Which part is greater than 0, which is the two sides of this graph. So you should expect smaller than -2 or greater than or equal to 1/3. The two sides of this graph. Okay, part C. Always I recommend you to change into positive first, okay, and then you will have x minus 3x plus 1. Also, you should consider the positives going upward graph, okay, so it is more than 1, -1, greater than 3, because you're looking at the part greater than 0. Now, part is the most challenging part because you don't know how to present. Sometimes I will find something like that. Okay, you say x smaller than or equal to 3 plus or minus something. Okay, it's all absolutely wrong. You can't say x more than or equal to something, because this is only the x-intercepts. You can't say x is smaller than the x-intercepts. Okay, but in your mind, maybe you consider this equation equal to 0. This equation, but this is inequality. Please note that equal 0. You can consider that. Okay, you get your final answer: 3 plus or minus negative square root 33 over 2. Okay, but note that this is only your draft, and what I want you to write is x minus the first root, x minus the second root, and that's more than equal to 0. This is actually one of the factorization methods here. So you write the final answers. You want this graph in between these two roots, okay, from the smaller to the bigger. Okay, part E, very similarly, you can use factorization, and note that this graph just touching at 1. However, you're looking at greater than 0, so at 1 it is exactly 0, which is not included. So x can be all real values except 1. Well, part F is the most I think it's a tragedy because you don't know how to present. Let's make it clear. There are two methods to do this special case, because you can expect that this graph is completely above the x-axis. So the answers must be all real values. Okay, however, how to present that? Well, some of you just write this, okay, x plus 3 square greater than or equal to 0 after you complete the square. Okay, it's not actually quite true because you have to state that clearly that x plus 3 square greater than or equal to 0, not for only some particular values, but for all real values. So the keywords is for all real values of x. Okay, and then you can expect that, remember it's greater than or equal to, because it can be equal to 0 sometimes. Okay, and then plus 3, of course, it will be even bigger, so you can say it's greater than 0, or greater than equal to 3, greater than 0, for all real values of x. Now, these two are very key part of these solutions. Okay, and then claim that the final answer will be x can be all real values. Stating it again to be very clear answering the questions, because if you only stop at here, you are not actually answering the question to the original inequality. Okay, if you don't want that method, actually this is easier method, but please note that the important parts that you have to give. The first is finding delta. Why is it so important to find delta smaller than 0? Because it tells us that the graph does not touch the x-axis. Oh, you are looking at the graph. The graph can be this, can be this. Both of them does not touch the x-axis, but the conclusion may be different. So, in your answer, you have to state clearly graph is opening upwards, so that you can claim it's all real values. If it's open downwards, you can't say all real values, obviously. So, please remember there are two key points. The first key point, showing delta. Second key point, stating that the graph opens upwards. Both of them, I mean, you have to state both of them in order to arrive at the conclusion, all real values of x. Okay, pay one more attention before I move on. Which graph is it? It is not x squared plus 6x plus 12 greater than 0. It's not a graph. The graph is y equals to, so please note that it's y equals to x squared plus 6x plus 12. It is a graph, opens upwards. X can be all real values. Okay, then you get full marks for this. Delta opens upwards, all real values. Second method, completing square, and then greater than 0 for all real, greater than 0 for all real, and then x can be all real non-values. Okay, please note that. And final question is actually not quite challenging. Okay, when you're looking at certain graph or certain equations, then you're looking at delta to determine whether how many x-intercepts or how many real roots are there. So the key points here is always above the x-axis. So you should have this picture in your mind. It means it doesn't touch the x-axis. Obviously, 2x squared here, it means that your the graph is going upward. Actually, it's secure for you to state that the graph of this is opening upward, and then claim that delta is more than 0 because it is always above x-axis. Okay, and then solving is not a big problem for you. Okay, and here remember to give the factorization form. Think about the graphs 1, -1, and 7. You can get your final answer. Do not write any redundant and wrong thing. Okay, so if you can understand all of these, I think you will be safe in the test. Thank you for watching.